Smiling Faces, the podcast, is a proud member of the Defiantly Me Productions. To learn more about Defiantly Me Productions, visit Instagram at Defiantly Me Productions. I didn't think this would happen from a You Look Pretty.
Wow.
Also, bold choice. TSA agent being like, come on through this full body scanning machine. You look pretty. You're like, stop looking at my internal organs.
I know my kidney's amazing, please.
Sir, calm down. Do not objectify my spleen.
Welcome back to episode 20 of Smiling Faces, the podcast. I'm Victoria Dunn.
And I'm Jess Anguiano. We are the executive producers of Smiling Faces, our hit show about two girls who discovered they are dating the same guy while working at a toxically positive spin studio.
On this podcast, we provide you with unfiltered conversations about dating, heartbreak, revenge, and of course, living your best life.
And I think it's fair to say that this week, something's going on in the moon and stars because it has been an attempt at living your best life.
Can we talk about it? Like when people, you know that phrase that people say of, oh, you doing Gucci? And it's like, I'm doing, was it Ross Dress for Less at best? Like,
I've never heard that before.
I'm giving Temu at best. I'm so tired.
I'm giving Temu with holiday delivery dates at best.
Yeah,
it is.
Oh, shambles.
Yeah, I feel like I have been handed my ass in a really like a brown paper bag. Nobody even bothered to put a bow on it and was like, here you are, ma'am. Best of luck. I cannot believe how difficult this week has been physically, mentally, emotionally. It's been hard for all of my friends, my coworkers. It has been a week, and I know it has been for you too.
Yeah, I don't know a single person I've talked to been like, how are you? And they're like, great. Everybody I've talked to, like they've hit that high Mariah Carey octave where they're like, yeah.
They give a little like, hee.
They're hitting the whistle tone, trying to pass it off as they're okay. And I'm like, oh no, come into my bosom.
Come here. Except for you are the one who also needs to be, held in someone's bosom.
Pre-recording, I literally came and basically like collapsed in Jess's arms before we recorded.
Producer Mike's like, hello, ladies. And I'm like, shh, it's going to be okay, Victoria. It's going to be okay.
I have to hold her and make her tea. Just give me a second.
I know. I gave you life-affirming green tea because green tea makes you feel like you're alive.
Yeah, thank you. And I do feel, what would this be now, a fourth wind for the day?
Dang. Yeah. It's the work stuff, right? Work stuff for me has been,
work. And also I'm still doing the producer classes, which at this point I have to keep rewatching all of them because I wake up, I set my alarm at 4:30 and then another warning at 4:45 so I can get up and open my laptop to learn at 5 a.m. And then somewhere around the 5:30 mark, I fall asleep without realizing it and wake up at 6:30 and go, oh shit, the class ended. And then close my laptop.
Anyone have any questions? Victoria, just hear a solid snore.
I always turn the sound off, like mute myself because I'm afraid that I'll actually like unmute and it'll just be.
This is so good.
And then I go back to sleep for a bit until Andre wakes me up to feed him and then I get my day going.
I mean, I have to tell you, to speak of updates on the show, also looping in this 5 a.m. class. So Victoria has been waking up at 5 a.m. every morning and listening to this.
Weekends included. I wasn't aware weekends were included when I signed up.
21. It's a boot camp. It's 21 days straight. And this gal's like, wake up with me. I've listened to some of the videos. She's like, wake up with me and learn how to produce. And listen, producing can be thrilling and exciting. I have been producing for, 10 years now, longer, honestly. And producing can be a really thrilling and exciting thing. Learning how to produce is dry.
It's
It's
dry.
very dry. I mean, you're
Oh,
seeing the things. I'm taking the notes. You know what's happened is I have because I love a notebook. I have a specific notebook for my producing class. I write out all the things. My cat decided, fuck that success for you, and destroyed, like he bit the ring. So I woke up and the wire rings, the spiral was yanked up out of my notebook. And I was like, sir, please, I'm trying to grow. Come on.
no. Andre Benjamin was like, do not interrupt my sleep time. We're done with
For
this,
your
ma'am. Shut it
bullshit. You
down.
doesn't. Yeah, he's like, I'm eating
He don't
prawns
care
every
about that.
day.
Yeah,
He
he don't care.
doesn't.
He don't
He's
care
like,
about that.
it's like with the job you have, I'm eating prawns. What's the problem?
You're feeding him
He's
too
like,
well.
yeah, I'm
Yeah.
taking care of fam. Who cares about this notebook?
Yeah. So but I will say from those producer classes is where I think the pivot that we're about to discuss came into play because I called Jess after one of the classes and was like, I think we got to pivot what we're
Well, I mean,
doing.
we've
Thoughts on
known
this?
writing.
Yeah.
Yeah, writing on the wall. So we have a really exciting announcement. And writing on the wall, sincerely, we have been we've been trying to figure out how do we raise as much money as we need to raise to make this at the quality that we want to make it at. People are constantly pick up your phone, point it at your friends, make content. Victoria and I and producer Mike all want to make something that really represents the quality, the production quality that we are capable of. However, that costs. It costs several tens of thousands of dollars. Now, we have some great opportunities with our fiscal sponsor, Inclusivity Media, who's helping to make all of our contributions donations, tax deductible donations. So we are working under the umbrella of a nonprofit, which is amazing. And then, of course, our events that we've held where we've fundraised, and it has been a fantastic experience. However, we're ready to shoot. We're ready for it. So Victoria called me with this great plan because do we promote? We can say Show Run Her is the program you're following.
Yes. Showrun Her on Instagram has amazing information. I feel like daily she's posting different stuff of how to get out there and make things as opposed to talking about it or spinning your wheels. And she'll have certain programs that give you step-by-step guides. I think she even has one simultaneously running along with the 21-day producer program that's learn how to shoot a short in I think it's 8 weeks or something, only on the weekends. So she mapped out a program. This weekend do this weekend do that. And then until after those 8 weekends straight, you've got a finished product of a short film. Like she has tangible
Yes.
ways to help you cross the finish line, which is
Yes.
amazing. But yeah, from those, she was kind of talking to me because I asked in the Q&A about her thoughts on producing this as a pilot. And she was, I will say, very honest. And she goes, fam, I'm not even going to lie to you. Producing pilots and doing just selling a show it's a challenge, especially in the market right now, how things are. A lot of things aren't getting picked up. A lot of, as we've been seeing, a lot of continuous IP is being used or original ideas aren't really being uplifted and celebrated right now. She's like, if anybody ever asks me, I will always champion web series because that's how you garner your audience. And then it's essentially the Issa Rae route where she did the web series. It garnered a lot of eyes, and then the networks came to her because it was almost a disruptor thing. It's what's this show that everyone's loving? Now let's
Yeah.
offer them the thing, and then build it out. And Awkward Black Girl basically turned into a more elevated version to become Insecure.
Yeah. Yeah. This
So
is
she
the
said that,
plan.
and I
And
was
we
like,
call
oh,
Yeah, Victoria called me and said, "Hey, what do you think?" It resonated when ideas are right. It's easy. It comes smoothly and easily. It resonated so hard with me. We started to brainstorm and make a plan and look at a possible production timeline immediately. We called Mike, pitched it to Mike, said, "What do you think?" Mike was like, "This sounds right. This sounds natural and easy and smooth and accessible." And it's a better idea.
yeah. And then also we get to, instead of using the money that's being raised on one kind of one and done scenario where we shoot this pilot and it's basically that would be a Hail Mary of
Yeah.
we take it around, shopping around, but then that's kind of it. But if we do the web series, I get to tell, or we, excuse me, get to tell the whole story the way I conceptualized it. and get that all out there. So it's not waiting and hoping that the rest of it gets to come out. Like we get to control that facet of it, which I really love. And luckily, at least, there was already moons ago a web series, like the web series version of this, but then we pivoted to the half hour pilot. So it's really just doing tweaks from the half hour to then flesh out, but follow the arc of the story that already was luckily in place.
The cool thing about all of this is that actionable steps can be taken. We're moving forward. It's natural, easy breezy. Anything that's right does come easy. That is something that I've learned in all my projects. If I try to make a project and I just keep hitting a wall, it's time to pivot. It's time to pivot. So I am super excited and invigorated. I think this is not, oftentimes people will think, oh, you're trading down. This is not trading down. This is actually listening to what's happening in the industry right now and basically growing and adapting to what the industry needs are right now, which television is falling by the wayside. I love television. It's devastating.
Same. It's so hard to see because so many shows are, even ones that I thought, I don't know if I'm in a vacuum of a certain space on Instagram and stuff, but certain shows that I loved are getting canceled after one season. And I'm like, what? And these are people with names behind them, like Natasha Rothwell's show, How to Die Alone. Loved that show. Hulu decided not to continue it or to renew it.
Yeah.
There's so many shows that get canceled constantly. It is hard to sell a show, but if you make something undeniable, then at least you have that kind of locked in the bag. So we're going that route.
And listen, young people are watching YouTube. They aren't watching television. So I work in the toy industry, and every single bit of entertainment that we create is for YouTube. We make YouTube reels, stories, videos, because that's where the young people are going. I mean, because I work with toys, our target audience is children. Young people are watching YouTube. Everyone I know is watching YouTube.
I watch YouTube every day because I'm still getting my Blake Lively, Justin Baldoni updates from these podcasters that post every single day. Like I literally wake up and I'm like, what's Dave Neal got to say this time?
What's going on?
I live on YouTube. So yeah, it's like, and it has a lot of ways that I learned that you can monetize off there too when you're posting your show. Yeah. So there's also that piece of it. So we're not just dropping it there and then kind of leaving it alone. There's different ideas of getting ad revenue and doing live streams and just really fun ways to engage with the audience as we're sharing the work. So I'm very excited about it.
I've also learned that there's something to independence, doing it independently. I've worked with iHeart. I've worked with a smaller company, and there is something to owning your own stuff, owning your IP. I left a job that was a paying job, right? Because they wanted some of my IP. You can't have it because that meant that dipped into other people's IP. So like I work with all these other podcasts, and so that meant I couldn't work on their podcasts because it was a threat to this place's IP. And so it just didn't work. And so I talked to our buddy James, and he was like, never give away your IP. He was like, as long as you can control it, keep it. So that was pretty much the decision for me to leave the company and be independent at this point. And at this point right now, when it comes to podcasting, because that's literally how I make my money. You two have, you guys have toy and other things but I'm a freelancer. That's kind of how I make my money at this point. So there is something to being independent. It has its drawbacks, right? I don't get a paycheck every week, right? Like you two, and so it has its drawbacks, but there is a freedom to it. And so when you guys pitched the web series, I was like, oh no, that makes sense to me. It makes perfect sense that we would pivot to something that way because you can keep the quality, but you don't have to throw a Hail Mary.
Right. And answer to anybody or be subject. Because the other thing I think that I know has always been in the back of Jess's mind with talking about it is having to build up everything to make sure that I'm not replaced as an actor on the show because of that. Because they'll go, cool idea. So we're going to go ahead and replace you with Zazie Beetz. And I'll be like, excuse me?
No.
Like, but it's my story. What do you mean? Like, yeah, but nobody knows you. I'm like, so?
And the words and the
on a young
language.
kid.
Yeah.
on a young,
I'm
almost
constantly-
40-year-old. Take a chance on a
Hey,
New
young.
blood.
Don't knock the 40-year-olds here.
Listen, I have to say, the reason why I believe in this project is because I believe in Victoria's voice. I believe in the comedy of it. I believe in Mike's grassroots, independent, hold on to your IP ideas and values. When you have that kind of belief and you have that kind of team, unstoppable. That's what makes great television. People are always saying, oh gosh, The Office is so good, or Game of Thrones, or whatnot. When you look
It's
at
the team.
it's the team. When you look at the shows that are successful, and I learned this from my time working at the studio and at the show level, a show is successful because of the team that's creating it. It's not the content. It's not the cast. It's the team. It's the leadership that makes it a star show. Abbott Elementary is run by rock stars, and the people who work on those crews come home screaming stories about what a great set it is and what a great time it is. Even Grey's Anatomy, it's been on the air for 20 years. That's because they have a dynamite crew and they have a good system. They work together and they take care of each other. And this is stuff that I learned from working at the studio level and witnessing 13 different shows at one time and seeing, why is that one successful and that one falling apart? And it's because of the team and the leadership on the team. That stuff always trickles down from the top. And when there's
Agreed.
integrity, and when you take care of your people, and when you believe in something, and then you inspire the people you're working with to believe in it as well, that's where the real success comes. And the audience, you're sitting watching a TV show. I gesture over here because this is where I watch my TV shows. You're sitting watching a TV show and you think, what is it? What is it about this show? Why do I love this show so much? And then if you really think about it, it's the people who make it.
Insert vigorous head shake here. Because it literally is that. So I think that's the big thing. People talk about that. I think certain sets, and I've always said, because I've had this idea of wanting to, one, obviously do this show, but so many other projects too. And I've always said, no matter what, that the team that I work with, I will always instill a no asshole policy. The same way that I know they kind of talked about on, well, that didn't really work, but on Don't Worry, Darling. I think they said that they wanted to instill that, but it didn't quite take. But,
really?
Yeah.
What's the tea on that? I never heard those stories.
Oh, it was that shoot was a disaster. Well, I'll tell you offline. There's a lot that happened in the making.
Sorry, listeners.
We would be here all
we
day.
can't
Private.
Yeah, no, I deep dive into this stuff now, and I've got inside from people that at Sony. Yeah, there was a lot that happened with that.
You know what the killer is for creativity and a team environment? Ego.
Yes.
That is the killer for everything.
Completely. If anyone thinks that their work is above anyone else's, because everybody is equal. Everyone is making a contribution. Everyone's voice is valid, which is what I really liked about, I listened to an interview of the creative team for the movie Sing Sing, which when I tell you again, I feel like I say it constantly, one of my favorite movies I've ever seen.
I've heard good things.
I have it on DVD. I'll let you borrow it. I'm obsessed.
Ooh.
I ordered it. The
DVD.
guy,
Not you dating yourself.
My boy Charles was supposed to have an interview with Domingo, so I'll have to see if he locked it in. Charles Kirkland Jr. He's a critic, and so he said he had an interview with Domingo. I'll have to see if I can peep in.
If he does it, two things.
Yeah.
One, may I pass along my Blu-ray for him to sign. Secondly, may I touch his hand because I know he will have shaken Coleman Domingo's hand. I will follow that man anywhere. I cannot tell you how obsessed I am with this man because he's so talented. It like hurts my body.
Yeah.
He's so talented. I'm obsessed with him.
He's a very talented guy. No, I'll have to holler out. He's the only critic that I trust, Charles. So, but no, he's a cool guy, and he's always telling me I edit the interviews. So, like, those are I produce him and his podcast because this is my life. I live here.
Listen,
so,
Mike we have so many sister podcasts out there and brother podcasts out there that we love and shout out to, and I can't wait. Sure. I can't wait to hear if that actually came through.
Yeah, I need to hear. Last little piece is going to say about for Sing Sing is that the other thing that was great about this, that was unique, is that everybody on the crew got equity. They all got paid the same amount of money and they all got equity and I believe points on the back end for the success of it. So they all got like revenue from the movie. So it was, they all had
Wow.
ownership of it. And it was a unique thing that nobody's really done before.
I would like to see the numbers on that. That's
know.
amazing.
Isn't that cool? Yeah, I listened to them, their
Yeah.
interview, and was floored by that concept. It was amazing.
What's that interview? What was that interview that you listened to?
It was, I believe it was The Business with Kim Masters. I love that podcast.
Amazing.
But yeah, she interviewed them and I was amazed by that.
On the note of great teams and great projects, which we are sitting on right now, I wanted to kind of do a little bit of like, how did we get here chat with Victoria, because we realized we're 20 episodes in and this whole project has evolved. Obviously, we just made a huge announcement today. It literally has physically evolved from television show to web series and web content. And I really wanted to take a minute and set up the space for you to tell us, how did we get here? How did this happen, Victoria? How are you and I sitting here across from each other, head over heels?
Picture it. Okay. So I would say this all stemmed from, oh gosh. I started dating the inspiration for this web series, the show, back in 2000. Oh gosh, I want to say like 16. It was early on to when I moved to LA.
I love that you call him the inspiration for this show. That's very generous, but it's true. Catalyst, you started dating the catalyst for this show. Yes.
I feel like we have to speak about him the same way that people refuse to say the president's name, like the administration. I started dating the catalyst in like 2016.
I love it. The catalyst is the name. That's how we refer to him from now on. Yes,
that'll be the
catalyst.
One. Yes.
Yep. I'm here for it.
On. Perfect. It was early on into my moving here and classic actor thing. If you are an actor or were ever an actor in LA, I would say in the mid 2010s, then you most likely did plays at a theater on La Brea. And they had rolling auditions on backstage.com. And I think everybody had a turn there. But I was in a show there because there were different plays. This guy created this theater. It's now closed. So I'm still not going to say the name, but whatever. But this guy had a different show every single night and he had 2 shows a night. So he needed 2 casts of actors for every show. So he had 14 different casts. So there's a lot of turnover because people get pissed and be like, fuck this guy, I'm out. But
yeah,
at this theater was where I met the catalyst because I was in a show on Sunday. He was in a show, I think one of the weekday performances. And if you were in one of the plays, then you got to see all the other shows for free. And he came to our closing night performance. And because unfortunately, I fold for an accent. So I heard him talking across the room.
Can confirm. I feel like every man I know that you've dated has always had a British accent.
There's something there, and I don't know why. I won't learn my lesson. So I heard an accent.
I thought British men could be so toxic. I didn't know. I'm not all British men, but damn, I thought all British men were kind and quiet and gentle.
I don't know. They're colonizers, though. So,
should we throw in some shade? Says the girl who can't stop being attracted to them.
I know it's my own problem. Although, in fairness, he wasn't like a white British guy, so he himself wasn't a colonizer. But I think he was just caught in the trappings of it. He was black, but there was something with that. So I heard his voice across the room, and it was like, what is your name? And that's literally how we started talking. It was like radars, laser focused. But we really were like dating since then. I will say, because of past trauma from relationships, I've been very adamant whenever I'm dating someone to be like, I want to take time to get to know you. So even through the months that we were dating, I was very adamant about I'm not claiming you as a boyfriend yet. And he would push the issue, which is very interesting now in hindsight. But he was very adamant about us being boyfriend and girlfriend. I remember he drunk called me once and let it slip that he loved me. And I was like, uh-oh, and got very thrown by it.
How
And
many
then
months was that in?
that was, oh gosh, maybe 6-7 months in, something like that.
That's a red flag. That's a
Yeah.
red flag
Mr.
right there.
Catalyst dropping the L-bomb and flagging that red flag even harder, doing it while you're drunk. Come on, bro.
Right. Like
Come
couldn't
on,
own up to it sober. Had to do it drunk.
Is it bruv?
Bruv.
Yes.
They do bruv. Yeah.
Come on, bruv.
I say bruv all the time, and I'm American.
Yeah, you do.
There we
I say
go.
bruv.
Nice.
I say bruv all the time. That's
the
part of
Philly
my.
in you.
Is it the Philly?
I think so.
It might be.
Oh no.
It
Yeah.
might be the Philly. I mean, that's one of those East Coast towns just infiltrated, early days
Right?
from
yeah,
those British.
the early colonies. Yeah.
Mhm,
Yes, that
mhm.
makes sense.
Can't
I
help
see what
it.
happened here. But I would say,
Okay.
yes. So I would say we
So.
dated. We did date for 2 years. I always had little spidey senses throughout the relationship of something is not making sense. He always claimed to be busy, but I can never quite pit what was going on and why. If I ever asked questions, classic manipulation would turn it on me and be like, well, I'm working. So, I mean, do you want me to take you out or not? Like it got very toxic.
Ooh,
So that was fun.
gaslight.
Yeah, it was
Boy.
not healthy. But then when you're in that for so long, you kind of think, oh, well, maybe am I tripping? Maybe I'm tripping by asking questions, which is insane to think. But when you're in it, you can't see it. And
That's how they get you. That's how they get you.
They
Yeah.
get you with that.
It's
where
not-
they turn it
it's
on
not
you.
like- Yeah, it's not like, oh my gosh, you are an idiot and you're wrong. This stuff is death by 1,000 cuts. It's not like, oh, you sat there and you took all this terrible behavior. The man dropped I love you 7 months in. He was trying to be your boyfriend right from the get-go. So that kind of positive attention is so hard to tune into when you're inside of it. So
Right. And
let's
it
never
was
forget. The catalyst
true.
is the catalyst for a reason.
Yes, very true.
Yeah.
And it was also
Yeah.
very early into my moving here. And, moving, I know people talk about it, but moving to LA is such a hard transition, no matter how excited you are to do it. And I would say the first year and a half, 2 years is all learning and growing and having crazy things going on. I mean, early into the first few months of me moving here, like my grandmother passed away. I was working my ass off and was tired. I was broke. And then here's this guy being like, I really care about you. I love you. I want to be here with you. And I'm like, oh my God, at least there's a little bit of calm in all this. There wasn't. But he spent Christmas with me because I always would go home for Christmas. But my first Christmas I moved here, he stayed with me for Christmas, like all this stuff. So there came a point where I remember I was like, I need a second job. And I mentioned I went to work at the inspiration for the location, a spin studio. And he was weirdly not supportive of it. And I couldn't gather why. And I was like, I don't care. I need money. You're blocking my blessings. I'm doing it. So
Nice.
interviewed, got the job, was working there. And genuinely, when I was there was a girl that was working at the Hollywood location. And they're like, oh my gosh, you would love her. She's amazing. Her name is Johanna. I love her. And I met her.
Shout out
was
to
obsessed.
Johanna.
Johanna's amazing. She eventually left. And I was like, where are you going? And she said, I'm going to the West Hollywood location. And I went, well, why? And then she told me Beyonce and Jay-Z work at that location. So I went, well, same. I too want to be there. So I requested a transfer.
Power move. Power move. I'm sorry, what? The West Hollywood location?
I was like,
we will
the
be
Carters
moving
will
together.
be there. We will be there. So followed her there. Totally started working there, continuing the thing. And then something hit between the two jobs, between the working super hard and him not being present. I remember there was a holiday party at one of my jobs, and I had just enough whiskey that I was mad. And I realized he's never there for me. Like something clicked in my head. I don't know what happened. I think it was the sage of the South and the whiskey hit me. And I remember I called him because at that point he went home to London every year for Christmas. And I remember I started blowing up his phone, texting him. I went, you treat me horribly, and just went on and on, like ranting at him. And he went, what are you talking about? Who hurt you? And I went, you did. And I got very upset. And we had this moment where he's like, I'm not talking to you right now. Like, we'll do this later. And I remember
Sure.
I was prepping to go home. So we text for a little bit, and it was very like he was not giving me any energy back of he even cared to fight for this or try and figure this out or explain what I was feeling. And I remember it was so dark. I was flying home to Atlanta, and I was in the airport just a shell because I was like, I think this relationship is over. I don't think he even cares. I don't think he even wants me anymore. What the fuck? And I remember
2 whole years.
Yeah, 2 whole years of being in this. And one of the TSA agents, as I was walking through, he went, "You're really pretty." And I sobbed in the airport.
Oh,
Openly wept in the airport because I was like, my boyfriend doesn't think so. Like, it was just a mess.
on your way home for the holidays.
Yeah.
The TSA agent was like, whoa, I got a little bit more than I had bargained for.
Yeah.
He's like,
Sorry, ma'am.
I didn't think this would happen from a "you look pretty."
Wow.
Also, bold choice. TSA
know.
agent being like, come on through this full body scanning machine. You look pretty. You're like, stop looking at my internal organs.
I know my kidney's amazing, please.
Sir, calm down. Do not objectify my spleen. Jeez.
So it was, oh gosh. So that was all bad. I finally got home, settled. We did a FaceTime. And when I tell you, I was on the phone just crying to him, asking, I don't understand why you're not showing that you care. I feel all these kind of things, and you don't seem like you care at all. No,
He
I'm
was
crying, saying like, I don't
you're saying that.
understand.
Okay.
Yeah, like I'm crying, saying I don't understand what's going on, why you can never have a straight answer with me on what you're doing, or I don't get to see you as often as I'd like. And it's just, I don't feel loved by you. When I tell you, they're only going to see this from the video, but when I tell you his face was stone faced, like no emotion, did not care. And I knew right then, I went, no. Like, he doesn't even care. Like, I care more about this than he
Them
does.
Brits is cold, ain't they?
Cold.
Them Brits
Shut
is
it
cold.
down.
Stone faced.
Well, it rains all the time there. They get a lot of practice in their coldness. I have to say, you don't have to even see the video of his stone cold face. Everyone who's ever looked at someone and said, I love you, and has been met with a wall knows what that look is. It's the same look on everybody. When it's like, I have these feelings, I have care, I want to take these feelings and merge them with your feelings and make something real, and is met with a wall of just nothing. That look is the same on every single human being's face. I would venture to say it's the same on every single creature's face, because this is the same if you try to show that love to an animal that just doesn't want to love you back the way you want it to. Okay.
Agreed. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. None that I've
yeah.
ever pet or interacted with. All animals and babies love me, but
Of course, claro.
claro. So, okay. So you're looking at his stone cold face, and he's just, nothing's coming through.
Yeah. And I said, and I kind of just went, okay, just forget it. And then the dagger, because he had just started doing, not even shout out, this is not a tag. He started doing Amway. Do you know Amway?
Yes, but please explain it for the people who don't.
Why the hell? Why the hell is he doing Amway?
Because he wanted to be independently wealthy, and he thought that this would be the way to do it. He bought into the scam, which should have been my other red flag. He started doing it towards the end of the relationship. And Amway is essentially where
silly man.
Yeah, you basically, it's a pyramid scheme for sure, but you buy into this company where you're selling products from your own personal website. That's kind of like a mini Amazon to an extent, but people buy the products from you instead of from a regular store. And for some reason, you get commission off that, and people would choose to do that. Why? I don't know.
It's a multi-level marketing scheme. In fact, I would venture to say that is exactly what Jeff Bezos did with Amazon. He was like, you'll just buy everything from me. Here's a website that supplies all of it, and then I'll just take a piece off the top. Amazon is Amway.
It is just, we allowed it to happen. People got hip on Amway, but we allowed Amazon to happen. So yeah.
All you folks out there who are like multi-level marketing schemes, MLMs are bad. You're participating. Cancel your Amazon subscription today, or get on board and buy yourself some Mary Kay.
Yes, Mary Kay, get that pink Cadillac.
Get that pink Cadillac. Support women entrepreneurs.
Yes.
Okay, so he's selling Amway. He's an actor, right? So
yes,
he's not working.
An actor. He was selling Amway, and the dagger of me with the crying and him with the stone face was then. This was why I was like, "Fuck this guy." After this conversation, he looked me dead in my eyes and went, "Well, would you still like to meet my investors and join my team?" And I went, "Fuck you." That's what he offered me after that breakup.
You stayed with this guy for 2 years?
Yes.
The audacity.
He hit me with that right after I said, "I feel like you don't love me." He looked me dead in my eye.
I'm not laughing at your pain, but fam,
I mean,
at what point did you?
I saw it. I see it now. But like when you're in it, it's crazy. It's hard. I'm telling you, the whiskey hit, and I saw everything.
I'm telling you, the thing about Mike is that Mike was just born innately with this just incredible sense of what? I knew you weren't.
No. See, I wasn't a dog, but I've been around enough of them to understand who they are. Right? I've been around enough dudes who have used other women or whatever to understand what it is. So like, I'm like, man, women really eat this shit up sometimes. And I'm like,
unfortunately,
it's tough.
Not anymore, though. I would say that relationship fucked me up in a way I can't even tell you. Where I wait for someone to piss me off, and I'm like, I knew it.
I could smell it on you.
I give. There's so few fucks and chances that I give now, where I'm just like, I mean, I'll give you the leeway to at least hang yourself, but I'm watching you with a third eye, and that third eye is on a side eye slant every single time. I'm like, like, how you about to piss me off? Let me see.
Crazy.
Here's the thing, because what I want to know is, fast forward now, you're at
correct, and weirdly, I'm talking.
You're broken up. You're broken up with this loser.
Broken up with the Catalyst. I'm in the back folding towels. Jay-Z is literally in the next room. And I think we mentioned this part on the pod before. So Johanna comes in the back. It bears repeating. Folding the towels.
Yeah, bears repeating. Yeah.
Johanna's in the back. We're folding towels. I make a comment about how my weekend was watching Bob Ross, but I make an offhanded comment but my ex used to say that Bob Ross he said a pedophile, but I made the comment of,
you should have dumped him the first time he said that about Bob Ross.
I know. I was like, what are you talking about? And he goes,
also, I'm pretty sure if it came out of British lips, it would be pedophile.
Oh, no, that's what I was going to say next. So then when I corrected it, I was like, but he called him a pedophile because he was British. And I went, but he didn't grow up with him. So he doesn't understand how much of a hug Bob Ross is to American children and American people.
Yes.
So I was like, and I told her that we would get into fights all the time about how to pronounce stuff. And sometimes I would go, shut up, insert name here. And that's when her eyes bugged out.
Catalyst.
And she was like, what's Catalyst's last name? Said it. We both grabbed our phones, pulled up the same Instagram account, started comparing timelines, freaking out over everything. Again, Jay-Z's in the next room. It's time for him to take class. He slowly opens the door and tips past us as we're like, that motherfucker, I can't believe him. That piece of shit. I took him to the airport when he said that a friend was handling it. Oh, really? Well, when his birthday decorations were up in his apartment, I did that. He said that so-and-so did that. So it was all these timelines crossing over as we're piecing it together. And Jay-Z walks past us. His bodyguard comforted me, as I think I said before, gave me a sandwich. We love him. And
wait, hold on. No. Yeah. We cannot be glossing over these fun facts. It's fine. If people have heard this before, they can hear it again. Jay-Z's bodyguard was like, can I get you a sandwich? And Victoria said, no. And he went to the store and brought her one anyway.
He did. He's gold. A good one.
That's your man. That's your king right there.
I know.
Jay-Z's bodyguard.
He was so sweet to me. He literally looked at me after Johanna went back to the front. He goes, are you okay? I was like, I don't know. And he was like, can I get you anything? And that's when he offered. He's like, I'm going to get you a sandwich. You want a sandwich? And I went, no, it's okay. And he's like, no. He went to a store and got me a sandwich. And then he said, just so you know, we're not all like that, which is very sweet. And that always stuck with me too. So he's got a great team around him. The Carters have a great team.
Listen, that's the kind of people you want around you.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Talking about great teams, the Carters, their driver's really dope. Their bodyguards are dope. Beyonce's bodyguard is dope. Jay-Z's bodyguard is dope. They have a great team. But
wait, why do you know all this? Never mind. Don't answer that question, actually.
Because I would talk to them while they were in class. That's all.
Oh, that's
while
right.
they were in
Of
class,
course,
I would
of
talk
course.
to them because they were waiting for them to come out of class. But after that, fast forward now, this is towards the end of it now. Fast forwarding to it, I randomly get a text from the Catalyst months later, around like Valentine's Day-ish, I would say, trying to rekindle the relationship. And at this point, Johanna and I now know what happened. So I went, you're not going to believe who I heard from. Show her my phone, literally copied and pasted the exact same text message to her that he sent to me. So then we're like, okay, he's at it again. He's trying to bamboozle. So she at this point goes off on him, starts cussing him out, everything. I don't respond. All I said was send me the screenshots of everything you say to him. So my responses to him were only her screenshots of their conversation. And the way that he started typing and then the bubbles went away. Started typing, then the bubbles went away. And then finally he went, all I can do is apologize for who I was. And I was like, you're literally it right now.
He's texting
still
the two
doing
of you.
it.
You're side by side. You're next. This is my favorite part of this story because obviously this is the heart of Smiling Faces, the show. And my favorite part of it all is that you and Johanna are pals. You still talk. You're friends.
Yes.
You're sharing screenshots of his ridiculous texts that he's still like pretending like he's not being a toxic piece of. But I would say, and Mike, would you agree with me? Growth, because he did reach out and say, you interested? And Victoria said, no, this is growth.
Yeah,
this is growth. Okay, we're giving it to her, Mike.
Yes. Also, I could have killed him and I didn't.
I don't know what you want me to
so
say
much growth.
at this point.
She could have killed him and she didn't. That's so generous of you.
Not the answer, but
Mike always keeping us honest.
I'm just saying, like,
the rage I felt, like there's nothing to explain the level of rage I felt, because then you think back through the 2 years and you're like, what the fuck? I knew something was off, but to have it that clear of what was off was an insane mind fuck too. Because then you have to think of, oh, none of it was real. Like you knew that it wasn't great, but to realize that none of it was real is such a fuck up to your mental. And also when you're thinking of, I don't know, what a relationship is like. And I don't know, choosing a person and then realizing that they didn't care about you at all and that your radar or your decision making was that fucked up. It feels like your roadmap is all gone. You don't trust yourself anymore. Like I genuinely for years and probably still to this day don't trust myself in picking a partner because of that fuck up.
I'll tell you what, the entirety of this podcast is rooted in the heart of that lack of trust. We lose trust in ourselves when people betray us. And the truth is, we want to bring these stories, this full-fledged authenticity, tell the truth about what's going on, because that's what Smiling Faces is all about. Experiencing unbelievable pain and then gritting and bearing it, faking it till you make it, coming through on the other side to become whatever the greatest version of yourself is meant to be, like a phoenix rising. I can't wait to continue exploring that with you. I think it's really cool.
Yes. Thank you for letting me share.
Yes, the fact that you're sharing this and honoring us with this story. And, you know, at another time we'll go through, because as Victoria and Mike know, I also have a similar story, which kind of brings us together, which is kind of the point. You and Johanna came together. You lost, 200 pounds of dead weight in that miserable garbage sack of crap Catalyst and gained this friend and this story and this experience and all of what's to come. And you gained Smiling Faces.
Indeed. Because I really had to pivot because a coworker who's now a playwright, very successful, love her.
Hell yeah.
I first said I want to write about this, and she told me, oh, but you're funny. Why don't you write it as a comedy? I was like, because it's not funny yet. So it took years for me to heal from it, to actually find some sort of humor in it. And now here we are with Smiling Faces. Because at first it was like a gritty murder. I think it's what people thought it was.
Yes.
Initially, when I talked about the concept, they were like, I don't know, murder seems a bit extreme. I was like, does it?
It does. It's extreme.
No, listen, not for cheating. Not for cheating.
Listen to me. It's not worth it. It's not worth. No, it's not. Murder, not worth it.
You're saying it.
No.
I feel like you're saying this because you think I would get caught and I'm offended.
Well, you're also talking about it on a podcast. So,
okay, first of all, stop yelling.
You see my point? Just throwing that out there.
I mean, I wouldn't
if I had murdered him, I wouldn't have shared it, obviously, because I've seen enough true crime to know you can't be willy-nilly talking about things.
Or would you?
Throw him off the scent.
Listen.
A body should never come up missing next to you because this will be used in your trial. I just want to let you know.
It's the same reason I didn't do 23andMe.
Miss Dunn, is it true on March 21st at 7:23 p.m. PST, did you say that you would murder someone? You're going to jail having trouble remembering what you said? Let us play it.
No.
Exhibit
there,
Your Honor.
That didn't even sound like me.
I didn't hear her say
footage?
No.
As they play our lovely podcast. And at this time, we're at the top of the podcast game, and this will bring us down.
Wow, the devil works hard. This is crazy.
AI is real. People are getting just constantly sabotaged. Look.
Another strong black woman torn down.
Down by the man.
See how we spun the narrative? It's not even.
And you get a race card, and you get a race card. I will play it like a motherfucker. Be like, what?
Play it.
You better hope it doesn't happen in this administration. Otherwise, you're going down.
Oh, yeah. They'll be like, what country do we think she'd be from? Get her over there.
You're going down.
Deported. Yeah. You're like, I'm American.
Doesn't matter.
Well, now you're going to Ghana.
Yeah.
We're sending you to Gitmo.
Ooh, dang.
Oh, man.
Cuba, you say?
Okay. Listen, because we are in a time where all we're doing is grinning and bearing it. It's my favorite segment. What is your smiling faces moment of the week? And I know you just told us a smiling faces moment of your life, but would love to know, what have you grinned and bared it through this week, Victoria?
This is really brief, but I, for those that don't know, joined a run club that I've growingly become obsessed with called Keep It Run 100 in LA. And
I love it.
The name is perfection.
So punny.
I finally joined their Thursday run, and it's over in Inglewood. And I've never done that one before. Turns out there's hills. I didn't know that because the one in Culver is all flat surfaces. So when I hit a hill, I about damn near died. The way I will
Did
say,
you keep going?
I did. I kept the jog going, but my hands were above my head and open wide so I could open up my lungs. And I did more of a trot up the hill.
Lean forward.
But we did it. And I almost got lost a little bit because, again, I didn't know the route because for Culver, we go in and out. But with Inglewood, it was a square and I wasn't sure a loop. And I wasn't sure where to go. So I almost got lost, but found somebody glowing in neon. I was like, that's a person I should follow, and followed them. Winded, but we did it. And we're cutting down on our miles per hour time.
Nice work. Way to grin and fake it till you make it, friends. How about you, Mike? Sure. What's your smiling faces moment?
March is my smiling faces moment. Let me tell you, these last couple of weeks have been horrible for the Bryants over here.
Yes.
Horrible. So at this point, March is my grin and bear moment.
I give it to you. Give it to you. Mike said to us right before we started recording tonight, he said, listen, you are so lucky. I love you all because I'm missing wrestling right now for this.
Yeah, huge wrestling fan. I'm sure people are like, oh, he's a grown man, still watches wrestling? Yes. Get on board.
Oh, are you kidding? Who's saying that to you? I watch wrestling. I love wrestling.
People got hang-ups about grown men watching wrestling. I don't care.
Because they're jealous.
It brings me joy. If you don't know the storylines are fire. If you don't watch for anything else, watch the storylines. Because I love a good storyline.
Bonus, turn on your TV on Saturday mornings. Wow, not WWE. Women of Wrestling on Saturday mornings, 10 a.m. Yeah. Check that out. You rich. I mean, there's women in WWE too, but
that's where Glow is inspired by. Yeah.
Yes.
Yep. Nice.
Well,
Jess, yours.
I will also keep mine easy. So I've been on the dating apps, okay? And listen, as a woman of a certain age, it's nice to get down to brass tacks, but sometimes they just want to get down to brass tacks so fast. And I have this dude, bro, little boy, man, sending me messages. And I swear to God, I don't know where he gets off. Well, I know where he gets off because he's been very informative about it. All he will ask me is, what are you wearing? I wonder what you're wearing. I'm thinking about what you're wearing. What are you wearing? I'm like, calm down. Easy. And then
pajamas.
And then yeah, he will turn it all. He does anything I said to him, he would turn into something foul. So I'll say this: I have a bestie. Shout out to Chris Jubitz, and one day he'll come on the podcast with us and talk about his own dating woes. And he said, "Unfollow him," and I was like, "Oh." He's like, "Block him. Why you don't talk to that guy? He's wasting your time. You don't have time for this." And he literally was like, "Unfollow him." Boom. I unfollowed that guy. And it was my smiling faces moment of just facing that, like, oh, I'm wondering what you're wearing today. I'm like, I'm at work.
You don't have to.
I'm on the clock. I work in the toy industry, bro. I am wearing corporate pants and a corporate top, okay? With my very sensible flat shoes, okay? Calm down. Nothing to be excited about here.
I wish you had said something just like weirdly out of pocket. Be like, have you seen pediatric shoes and pajama jeans? And
I swear, this guy was hoodie. He was so worked up about trying to figure out a way to say something dirty back to me. He would have found a way to make orthotics sexy. He would have been like, "Oh yeah,
orthopedic.
Take off those pediatric. Easy street." No, I like it. Yeah, well, pediatric, but that's anyway.
Orthopedic.
Yeah, I was
you're
like,
right. Yeah.
He would have been like, "I'll take those shoes off and rub your feet. Ooh, your feet are hot." And it's just so gross. So that's my
keep
smiling
a man down.
Moment. You just can't. Listen, and if you love hearing about all the pain and misery we go through, please find us on our social media. You can follow us at Instagram at smilingfaces_series. You can also find us on TikTok at smilingfaces_series. If you're on Facebook, and we love you on Facebook, at smilingfaces series, no underscore. And then, of course, we're on YouTube. www.youtube.com/@smilingfacesseries.
We also have a website. It's smilingfacesseries.com. Shout out to our fiscal sponsor, Inclusivity Media, and of course, our producing team, Mike Bryant of Defiantly Me Productions.
We love producer Mike.
We do.
Mm-hmm. Listen, keep it real out there. Keep safe. Fight the good fight. Don't let filthy people turn your orthotics into something they can make nasty. Hot tip. Take that away with you. Take that.
Great landing. Great landing. I love it.
Yep. Cut, print. That's the one.
Bye, y'all.